Subscribe, support, stay positive.
All right, so today we're diving into something pretty interesting. It's like this whole world of internet culture, specifically lolcows, and this guy TommyNC2010. Ever heard of him?
Yeah, I've definitely come across his name before. He's kind of legendary in certain parts of the internet.
Right, he's like the definition of a walking, talking meme. This dude embodies the whole neckbeard stereotype, like awkward, cringy videos, all of it. And we found this this wild thread on Kiwi Farms about him. It's, you know, that forum.
Yeah, I know Kiwi Farms.
With a very specific sense of humor, let's just say. They really zero in on certain internet personalities.
Yeah, it's interesting how certain people become these focal points online, these lolcows, as they call them. It's like a mix of charisma and awkwardness, maybe even a bit of obliviousness that just sucks people in. And TommyNC2010 seems to check all those boxes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And these forum posters we're looking at, they don't hold back at all. One even calls him the epitome of the neckbeard stereotype, which, for those who don't know, neckbeard is like this whole internet slang thing. It's an archetype, right?
Right.
Someone super into internet subcultures, usually stereotyped as socially awkward, maybe a little too into their interests. And there's usually a specific look associated with it, hence the name.
Yeah, and the forum posts really lean into all of that when they're describing Tommy. The awkwardness, the love of wrestling, even his whole thing about wanting to be a filmmaker.
Speaking of filmmaker, get this. Tommy was actually on MTV's Made, that show where they help teens achieve their dream careers.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
You know, that's actually really interesting. It plays into that whole lolcow thing. By trying to be a filmmaker and going on reality TV, he's almost making content for these communities, even if he doesn't realize it.
Totally. And the forum users were all over it. They analyze everything, like his interactions with the film crew, his movie ideas. It's like watching a train wreck, but you just can't look away.
There's definitely a voyeuristic element to it, but also I think people are fascinated by the unexpected. And Tommy is unpredictable, which makes him compelling to watch.
Absolutely. And then there's the infamous egg video. It's legendary among his followers.
Oh, yeah, the egg video.
We won't get into too much detail here. You'll have to brave the internet for that gem. Let's just say it involves Tommy, some eggs, and a whole lot of cringe.
What's interesting is how it became this cultural touchstone for his online community. That video really solidified his lolcow status and spawned endless memes and jokes within the forum.
It's like that one video just captured everything. Everything people found both cringy and strangely compelling about him. One user even said they only watched 6 seconds before they knew they needed more Tommy in their life.
That's wild, but it also speaks to how addictive this type of content can be. People are drawn to the unconventional, to things that are taboo, and Tommy, in his own way, produced that.
For sure. And he kept that content coming, especially with his Tommy Talk show. Imagine this. Totally random live streams, Google Hangout, and Tommy would just talk about anything and everything. And the trolls, oh, they were there. This one user, Digimon Dude, was a constant presence, always poking at Tommy during the streams. Pure internet chaos.
Sounds like it.
And the forum, they ate it up.
It's like a digital zoo with Tommy as the main attraction. This strange mix of trolls, actual fans, curious people just watching, all drawn in by this one guy and his bizarre online presence.
It really is a whole cast of characters, too. We're talking a fat military vet, a Californian accent surfer guy, even a high-pitched fan. Just this random mix of people wanting Tommy's attention on these live streams, like a bizarre sitcom you wouldn't find anywhere else.
It really shows you how these online communities work. Tommy's the central figure, kind of like the ringmaster, and the forum's the audience watching it all unfold.
Right. Unscripted, unfiltered, total reality show. But here's where things get a little, I don't know, a little more complicated, I guess. When you go deeper into the Kiwi Farms thread, there are these comments that really make you think about the whole ethics of it all.
Yeah, it's bound to happen, right? When someone like Tommy's putting himself out there like that, it's going to spark conversations about where the line is between just having a laugh and something more problematic.
Exactly. One user, Megahand, writes, "Thank God he has Asperger's or he would actually know what he's doing is embarrassing." Kind of harsh comment, right? It makes you wonder if some of the jokes at Tommy's expense go too far.
It's a tricky situation. You could say Tommy's choosing to be in the public eye. He's making the content, so he's opening himself up to scrutiny, even mockery to an extent. But then there's the question of whether it's ever okay to make fun of someone's neurodivergence, especially if they might not fully understand the social cues.
Yeah, exactly, like signing that. Where do you draw that line? Is it ever okay to laugh at someone's expense, even if they're putting themselves out there? It's a bigger issue that goes way beyond just Tommy. It's about how we treat people who are different in the online world.
For sure. And it's even more complicated now with the internet. Anonymity makes people say things they'd never say in person.
Right.
Plus, it's easy to misinterpret things online when you can't hear someone's tone.
Definitely. And it's not like everyone on the forum feels the same way about Tommy. There are different perspectives. Like another user, Sane Kochia, has this whole other take. They say he is either the balliest man ever to walk into Times Square and rant like a moron, or is the most oblivious person to not see that everyone thinks he's a dumbass.
Wow, that's quite the contrast.
It's interesting how even within one forum, you have these completely opposite views on who Tommy is and what makes him tick.
Right.
It speaks to how ambiguous his whole online persona is. Like, is he in on the joke? Is he completely oblivious? Or somewhere in between?
Yeah.
That's part of what makes him so fascinating to watch, I think.
It's true. Keeps people guessing, keeps them coming back for more. Like, who is the real TommyNC2010? It's like we're all trying to solve this puzzle, right? Trying to figure out, is this an act? Is he messing with everyone? Or is he really just completely unaware? But that's part of why people are so drawn to him, isn't it? The mystery of TommyNC2010.
Definitely adds to the intrigue. And it makes you think, right? Like in a world where everyone's so busy building their online persona, presenting these perfect versions of themselves, where does someone like Tommy fit in? That's a really good point. He's like the opposite of an influencer. No filters, no staged photos, just pure, unfiltered Tommy. All's refreshing in a weird way.
It's true. He disrupts our expectations. We're so used to seeing people perform online, putting on their best face for the camera. And then you have Tommy, who's just the opposite. He's authentic, even if it's totally unintentional.
Totally. And maybe that's exactly why people find him so fascinating. He's like a reminder that real people exist outside of all the social media stuff. And sometimes real people are awkward and cringy and unpredictable.
And in a way, it forces us to look at our own relationship with the internet. Are we drawn to the polished, perfect versions of people? Or is there a part of us that still wants authenticity, even if it's messy, even if it's someone like TommyNC2010?
Wow, that's deep. But you're right. So after this whole deep dive into the world of TommyNC2010 and this whole online culture around him, what have we learned?
I think it shows how complicated the internet is. Like, we're drawn to things that are familiar, but also things that are completely different. We want to see success, but also something real, something authentic. And sometimes those things clash, and that's how you get these weird, fascinating, sometimes uncomfortable internet things.
It's true. Tommy's like this weird mix of everything the internet is. Good, bad, cringy, and strangely compelling all at the same time. He's this walking, talking, egg-throwing history, and no one can look away.
And maybe that's the biggest thing we can take from all of this, that on the internet, there are always going to be people like TommyNC2010, people who defy expectations, who make us think, who remind us that sometimes the most interesting stories are the ones we least expect. So true. So next time you're scrolling through social media and you're seeing all these perfect lives and carefully crafted personalities, remember TommyNC2010. He just might make you appreciate the weird, wild, and unpredictable side of the internet a little bit more.
Yeah, he's a good reminder that reality, even when it's messy, is a lot more interesting than anything we could ever make up. And on that note, we'll leave you to think about the curious case of TommyNC2010. Until next